If you know me, you know I'm always trying to learn from Skrillex's techniques in this game we call production. And I've just been listening to a lot of Skrillex lately, and I wondered if I could turn one of my old future-based trap drops into a more Skrillexy sound. So yeah, old drop and new Skrillexy drop and the techniques I use, and I'll break down whatnot and what kind of inspiration and ideas I pulled from Skrillex's bangers. Alright, this is from our Limitless Showcase pack. All the sounds and samples are from Limitless, link in the description. Nice on its own, but it's definitely not Skrillexy, so we'll flip that on its head, and this is what I transformed that into. First up, drums. If we're comparing drums, very beefy, larger than life, saturated, reverb. Yeah! And if we compare these to what Skrillex would typically do, like very short, deliberate, punchy drums. He's not really using reverb these days, is he? Is Skrillex outgrown reverb? What the hell? Changed up most of the samples for like a tighter kick and a tighter snare with a kind of layered snare. Kind of borderline percussion and snare, very Skrillexy. And of course the trap hi-hats over the top of it. I don't know if Skrillex actually does this, but I thought I heard it in one of his tracks. Could be completely wrong. A little bit of an auto pan as well, so the hi-hats aren't directly coming down the center. Mono is kind of just like offsetting side to side a little bit, so I reckon it works quite well as well. Random as percussions definitely work, and some more random percussions. They don't linger around. Like I said, Skrillex may have outgrown reverb, he's that good. So they literally just end whenever the next kick comes in. Yeah, they're very sharp and snappy. Pretty much drums in a nutshell. Sample selection, of course, super sharp, snappy sounds, no reverb, hip hop hi-hat patterns, and whatnot. Chords. A little bit too future bassy. We're not heading down that particular Skrillex direction, but of course I kept some of it, mostly just the MIDI doing the bass, and completely switched out Serum for just a saw wave and analog. And this sounds shit by itself. You know why it was muted though? Because we have some vocal chops going on here, and for these vocal chops, our carrier is actually this little saw wave here. I actually got two. One is from the saw wave and one is from the lead, and they chop and change. I did cover this technique in like a Skrillex inspired series ages ago, using vocoder on vocal chops and then a little bit of pitch map and OTT. Kind of really creates that Skrillexy sound, which is nice. So I want to repeat that for this, and kept it mono as well. Notice we got some monofication, just left channel instead of stereo, and of course beautiful sidechain. But yeah, this vocoder technique definitely works. And playing with the formants, it is just giving up a beautiful sound. And for the rhythmic qualities we have here, notice it's heaps of fades and like wob pulsating sounds. The chords beforehand, which we're using, very long and wide and just like full of impact. Skrillex's new style is very tight, technical, and deliberate. Every sound that pulsates that comes through, there's definitely a place for the mix in it, and is fully purposeful in a way. Like you wouldn't just add long notes, it'd just be like chop, change, little samples here, there. He's like a little sample sniper, isn't he? He's like a little sound sniper. So I wanted to jam some 8ths and then some 16ths, very kind of hip hop orientated. Sound, mostly character like hi-hats, mixed with the melodic elements as well. Skrillex is no stranger to vocal chops and something like that, so of course it had to be in here. A few emphasis on a few notes. A little random sound there. Granulator effects for some backing. I did keep that from the original. For our bass, the saw wave, it is not Skrillexy, it had to go. Nah, it has to go.
Stay or go. He has to go, blood.
It's not Skrillexy. Used a combination of a couple of different 808s. Come on, you know, I don't even have to explain that. It is very Skrillexy. Very clean, hip-hop-esque 808. No sidechain, but all the notes are kind of faded in as well to give space to the kick and snare. Actually, it's not even playing when the snare is playing, only here. We should probably delete that. But yeah, no sidechain needed, so many fades in keeping with that melodic vocal chop rhythm we got over here. And lastly, the lead from the original. Wasn't quite Skrillexy enough. Like I said before, sound sniper. Every sound has its place. So we wanted to transform this lead into kind of a staccato-y sound. Add the wobs here and there to match our vocal chop wobs we got up here. So make sure they overlap in good places. Also played around, I don't know if this is Skrillexy or not, but also just played around with dropping a few parts of the melody an octave down. It just worked really well. And use the beats warping instead of... Just shorten that up. Sound sniper. Every sound has a purpose. It's very... So if you are going down this direction, would recommend matching your lead chops and wobs with your harmonic kind of melodic. So there's no really overlaps with two things doing two different rhythms. Yes, very Skrillexy. And that's that. If you want a Skrillex inspired sound, deliberate, intentional, wobs, tight sound. And random poop sounds.